our first question is during this back to school season, what tips and tricks are you hearing, telling, or using to support students with autism and their families? Each of these questions does go out to everyone, so don't hold back.
I can go. One thing that I'm seeing for back to school is actually a lot of the students like the routine of school. They like and miss school going from having a routine and familiar things to just, you know, dropping that off in the summer. So they like the structure and returning to school. I think easing in, there's also the change of having a new teacher and new classroom possibly. So just kind of having discussions about that. That's what I've been seeing with families when we work with them. And to kind of touch on what you had said earlier about older students, maybe adults. I work with a couple of families who their children are in college and just getting the resources for them because college definitely does look a little different than like elementary, middle, high school. So just being aware of those resources is kind of how we've been helping families and working with them and working with like the different accommodations and learn just educating myself about that so I can help the families. But that's what kind of I've been doing, especially now working with families in the back to school season for the past couple of months.
I'm going to go ahead and I just want to tell everyone before I do, I'm going to stop screen sharing because I want to make this more of a conversation between us rather than staring at these slides. And I dropped the question in the chat box as well. Thank you, Joelle. All great points and great advice. Jamie, I see you raise your hand. Welcome. Do you want to respond as well?
Yeah, I can't get my camera to work, so I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Um, I typically work with the birth to three population, so we don't have any like specific like school stuff going on, but I have been hearing from friends who have kids with autism that they've been putting like a sensory toolkit in their cars. So for like after school, the kids have a way to like decompress and regulate themselves, and also um, implementing like an hour free, no expectation hour when they get home because they're seeing a lot of like big behaviors. The kids are in school all day and it's really hard and it's an adjustment. So I've been seeing that and I thought that was really cool.
Definitely. And incredibly, I love this perspective because when we think about back to school, we think about the kids and the young adults going to school. But for families that have multiple children, different ages, that also means schlepping back and forth, between school and home, and possibly other places as well. So that sensory kit in the car, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I found that so I have older kids and I work with older kids, but just the idea of having timers and like knowing because there's a lot of time blindness and I feel like we would not survive the day without, reminders of when to get ready for bed or when to wake up and when I need to leave for school and all the different things or go to a lesson and just working with those older kids who are starting to learn some independence, but we can still use those great assistive technologies to allow us to have, that timer that can go off.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And that can help, I think, also with things like remembering backward in my case, um, those assigned reading activities after school and looking at homework. And it's not always about reading a certain number of chapters or pages. Sometimes it's 20 minutes.
Right.
So having that timer that they can see, okay, you are making progress, hang in there a little longer. So lots of priming and prepping going into that. I love that. That's a great idea.
It also just kind of helps with that whole routine thing. It helps them stay on the routine without losing track of time and then all of a sudden being like, oh no, and then that just causes the extra stress. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that routines are, from what I hear from other individuals, as well as families and again, professionals, all of the communities involved here. I hear routines being a really big key point in this. And even thinking about 0 to 3 in this process, not only do you have to get them in the car and keep them satisfied and try to reduce all of the stress and the sensory, but knowing what's coming next. And sometimes that starts with establishing a routine and all of the priming ahead of time of tomorrow, we're going to do this, and then this, and then this. And then you get to tomorrow, and it's okay, first we're going to do this, and then this, and this. And then as you go through, you're going, we're doing this, this is coming up next. It's a lot of steps, but depending on the individual, those steps provide some structure and safety until it does become a routine and it doesn't feel like a struggle. Okay, sorry, I could keep talking on that, but I'm going to stop because I want to hear from other people. Thank you, Alicia. That was a great idea. I'm just checking to see if anybody is unmuting. And if you are, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, so before I switch back to sharing my screen and give you our next question, if you've just joined us, welcome. We would love to know some things about you. Sarah, would you mind dropping the introduction in there again? If it comforts you at all, Sarah, I have the same issue. I went to paste it and it did not look right. So there you go. All right, I'm going to go back to the screen now. And the second question we have here, and please know that these questions are just a starting point. This discussion can go where it needs to. So feel free to chime in without restraint, only respect and sharing. The second question is, what are some simple ways to help ease the transition into new schedules? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your chat until now. Thank you for your patience with me. Um, is this Mark? Yes, this is Mark chiming in. Webcam isn't cooperating today. Yes, feel free to type in the chat. We are monitoring that as well. Some tips and tricks that I've heard used is or that I've heard and used, is getting our kiddos used to a routine, being consistent with that routine. Also priming clients with changes in routine, such as a practice fire drill, school assembly, etc. Oh, really good points there. Also providing access to various coping items, activities such as headphones, fidget tools, or providing a calm, cozy area to take a break in. Providing visual supports help too. These are so great, Mark. All of the above. And you added a dimension that I want to pull from really quick, and that is the changes in routine. And you specifically mentioned fire drill, school assembly. I don't know about all of you, but our first experience as a fire drill, we didn't see it coming. And we did not think about it with back to school. And then it was there and it was happening, and we were reactive instead of proactive. So these are really awesome things to consider. It feels overwhelming, right? How do you prepare for this huge experience and all the things? But I think if we have a little bit of insight of what could occur, then we can focus on this we know is going to happen today. This will happen, and we want to get to it before it occurs if possible, but we can prioritize here and now and be ready before it occurs. So these, so good, Mark. Checking to see if I missed anything else in the chat. Okay. Okay, I'm not seeing any unmuting, which feel free, do come off mute if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and bring us to the third question. And oh, if I can get my screen in the right place. And you can also go backward if you want to go in the chat or on unmute yourself and do it aloud. Either way, it is meant to be a discussion, not a list. So my linear people, bear with me. Um, we can talk freely about all of these things. So the third question is, are there tools, routines, or strategies that make a difference during those big changes? You notice these are all kind of similar questions, and some of these have been answered, but think about what you've employed, what you've told others to try, and how did this impact the individual? It could be from as little as, something that they've got tangible with them, or as big as here was the whole process, but it paid off. Well, like I said, I have no problem talking, so I'm going to share one of mine. Um, yes, absolutely. Sorry, I'm looking in the chat box. Yes, please feel free to share a document that you created for school routines. Yes, that would be lovely. Do you have a link to it? Is it something that we can pull up? And if not, that's okay.
It's
Oh,
a,
I see it.
yeah, I just posted a PDF. Um,
Awesome. Would you like to talk through it a little bit and I'll pull it up on my screen?
oh, sure. Easier
Sorry,
said than
getting
done,
all the things.
right? Seems always.
Right. Okay, there we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just, I mean, this is just a few things that I put together, just like, things that you can do when school's starting. Like choose a homework spot that's different from other things. Like, just makes me think like how they always talk about like sleep routines. Like you shouldn't be, doing things in your bed. I am guilty of that, but I try not to. Like, because that's where you sleep and it helps you sleep better. Same thing with like homework. So same thing with like clearing away clutter and distractions, having everything right there. So like just all those little working memory things that, like, oh, I don't have that. Oh, I don't have that. And it's just all distracting. If you have like one like spot that's like special to you, that can really help. And then just having like a planning system. And again, this is more kind of for the older kids. You're not going to really need it for like, birth through three. But maybe it would be helpful for you as a parent. And then, yeah, just kind of coming up with some like morning routines and keeping up with it, which actually does start the night before because you want to make sure that everything's ready to go. Um, yeah, and then having homework with like starter tasks and using a timer. I really thought that the one thing that I really thought was important here was like setting parent boundaries because like we want them to be able to come to us and like ask us questions, but like if we're in the middle of other things, like we need to have those kinds of boundaries that are like agreed check-in times. Like, okay, I'm ready to work with you right now. Are you ready? Okay, no, well, the next time I'm going to be available will be after I've made dinner or after I made this phone call or whatever, because otherwise it just causes a lot of stress that, well, mom, you weren't, it's your fault that you weren't ready for me. No, it's not. But being available and letting the kids know, I think is really important. And then just having like a weekly reset to making sure that everything's ready for the next week. So feel free to steal it. Go right ahead.
This is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this. I know Sarah's already grabbed it, and we'll make sure that we put it into what she shares out afterwards. So thank you. This is really cool. I think it's got a few things that you've mentioned, and it's got some things that I'm going, oh yes, oh yes. Um, with us, it was a point of trying to help him understand his schedule to begin with. It was a lot of back and forth between therapies and home and school and all of this. And some days he saw four different providers. And that can also in the school translate to he might see four different teachers as well as providers and trying to help him know those people. So I know on my side, I went online, I pulled pictures of everybody and said, you have this person, and I did this from the time he was a toddler. I put the pictures into columns for each day of the week, And he knew on Sunday he would see this person, on Monday he would see these 5 people. And it also helped as a military family when my spouse was deployed or had to be somewhere overnight, for him to know, okay, tonight you're going to see both of us. Tomorrow it's just me. And that way, in his toddler brain, he doesn't really, I don't know how much he's getting of daddy's not going to come home tonight versus, okay, this is who you're going to see. And it was consistent for him. So we knew at the beginning of the week and we could adapt. And that was a point of structure and safety for him. He kind of had an idea of what was coming up. So has anyone else done anything like that with kind of a visual schedule, but also for us, it was Velcro that we would put them on, so it gave a little bit of a tactile. It was more, I think, the visual aspect of it. Has anyone tried anything like that or have any thoughts on that?
I know some of the families we work with, it's a kind of one way or the other. Some really like the visual schedules, and some have said that doesn't work at all. They use something else like the a tablet or another method. But yes, I've
Yeah.
seen that, and it's worked really well overall. But there are some families who use different like for schedules and works what works for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Individualized to what the student needs. I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Jeanette.
I had a question. For routines that are visualized, where do you guys go to get them? Like, what's the best place? Do you think?
Oh, I know there's a lot of people on here that can respond. So I'll stand back and everyone share what you recommend. What's worked for you? That's a great question, Jeanette. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know where everyone is, but Sensory Tool House in Lacey is really, really cool. It's got all sorts of neurodivergent everything, fidgets and like swings for like OT kind of swings and planners and just all sorts of and books and it's also great because you can bring your kid in there with you and they can play with all the different things. You even have a sensory room and all sorts of different things. I'm sure there's lots of places online as well. Oh, there, Sarah's got it in there already. So we love it there.
Great one. For us, the things that I didn't do on my side when I was feeling really crafty, um, everything from printing from Teachers Pay Teachers and Pinterest to talking with his providers. The speech therapist was extremely helpful because they were looking at it was let me clarify, a speech language pathologist was extremely helpful. She was looking at how to help him with not only communicating but also being able to ask questions around those things and respond to things. So that fell in with what she was trying to do. I've also heard about applied behavior analysis, ABA therapists supporting this as well. Monique, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, this is Monique Patel. I'm with Pierce County, but I was a classroom teacher for a long time, and I don't know what age, if that person is school age, but also working with the teacher to get those templates and things. I know I had access to many different types of templates and tools as a teacher, and working with your school staff, I would hope and imagine that they would also support developing tools for home. Um, yeah. So just know they're a resource as well. And I'm sure there's also plenty of things online and things too, but often special ed teachers will have access to a lot of different templates or materials that they can share or help develop.
I'm so glad you shared that. Thank you. I know what's worked for us, but we were in Florida at the time, and I'm thinking, I'm going to wait and let those who are in Washington respond. Let me go ahead and stop sharing again. Like I said, I just want to keep it a very conversation. I do see that there's a question in the chat box. So before we shift, did anyone else want to chime in? Okay, I don't see any unmuting, but I just wanted to confirm that. There's a question in the chat. Anne was asking how to help the child whose parents do not have this as a strong suit. Now, Anne, just to make sure that we're tracking correctly, do you mean really just all of the strategies and supports, or go ahead, I see you're unmuted.
Thank you. Routine. Their home is not one where routine is made, followed, carried through. And as a grandparent and as a teacher, I know how important that is, and I have to navigate very carefully being grandmother and my boundaries as grandmother, and trying to help them, I guess, kind of through the back door. And so that's where I am.
Absolutely. Does anybody want to respond with some thoughts to help Anne with this? So I have to say, Anne, that you're doing some great things already and keeping your boundaries in place, right? Because we can't always change people as much as we know it's in their better good. Oh, sorry, did that come out loud? Uh, I I'm gonna venture, excuse me. I'm gonna venture to say that if you're starting with routines and you're modeling routines, in some ways you're doing the piece that they're not, which is helpful. But also, speaking from my experience as a military spouse, our schedule is always it's always changing. There were a few things that we stayed absolutely consistent with, and they weren't necessarily your typical things. Meals were not always consistent. So our meal routine, it might be in the car on our way to therapy or on our way back, it might be he's eating at the dinner table. Well, I've got to be honest, that didn't happen often at that time. It might be that he is eating while he's doing something else so that I can be focused on what I need to do for work and for him. But where we found consistency were with his bedtime routine and with his bathing routine. With his bedtime, for us to maintain total structure and keep it safe, we use the same format. We do the same things in the same order. And for his needs, we went all the way down to we say the exact same goodnight message to him every night. We might be silly and goofy around that, and we kind of throw some things in there so it doesn't become just what is the word I'm looking for, just a continuous ritual. But that was something that never changed. If daddy was deployed, then I said the same thing to him. If we read a book at the same time. At 5 minutes we stopped, and then as he got older it became okay, so if we stop doing this, would you like to listen to an audiobook instead? And we started letting him have some choice in it so it stays focused on him. But that was our way of kind of embedding that structure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did anybody have any other questions? Oh, I see. Do the parents want routine and struggle with it, or is it not something that they're interested in?
I don't believe it's something that they're interested in. Yeah. it's it's rather chaotic. I I love them, um, but it's difficult to offer the right kind of help in the right kind of way.
Of course. Did anybody want to go ahead, Alicia? I thought you might have something to say.
I was just thinking that like just find one small thing. Like I mean, I think so often we think about like perfection and what we want, like the most ideal scenario, but like find just one thing that they could work on. Like maybe it's just we brush our teeth at 9 p.m. Like just one little thing and just start working on progression. And then as you get more yeses, you can add another thing or another thing. And whatever just seems to be, and don't make a big thing. Don't like just something small, something manageable, something that seems like it's not too difficult to figure out. Maybe something that's already part of their routine that you just add something a little bit more beneficial to, like, okay, we're already in the car, so we're going to listen to an audiobook. I don't know, but
Right,
like
right.
just something tiny that you can get like a little bit of momentum, because it's just to do too many things all at once and is just it just makes it really difficult for everybody, I think.
Thank you. Thank you, Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. You got me thinking. So Alicia, feel free to divert back if I'm going in a different direction than what you're thinking. But it started me thinking about like my own little routines and rituals that I don't even think about them. I just do them. When I get out of bed, there are certain things I do. There's a certain time in my routine when I stop to put on my contacts because I do need to see by that point. And I don't think of it as a structure, but it does give me peace of mind because I consistently do it and that works for me. And that's speaking as neurodivergent, but not an individual with autism. And it still brings structure and safety into my day. So that cohesiveness, I love what you said, Alicia, about just starting small. Maybe there are two things that you do in this order and you continually prioritize it. I think what helps when the parents maybe are feeling overwhelmed with juggling all of life and all of these needs is also to see how it's benefiting their child. If at grandma's house we do this, this, and this,
And we do.
and it's nice and calm and peaceful,
And it
and
is.
that continues to show them, then they may be able to start doing it at their house. Or if you're at their house at that same time of day to say, okay, remember like at grandma's house, let's do this. And when they walk through it, that might click and go, oh, wait, that can happen here too.
It's very, very good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate this question. Were there any other? Oh, I see something in the chat box. Agreed. I love this. I'm going to try to give this advice to families. This conversation is so helpful. Often what's good for our neurodivergent kids is good for everyone. Absolutely, right? That's the universal design for learning. We can all benefit from this, especially those with additional needs. Oh, Anne, you've inspired a great conversation. The chat box is still going. I love it. Routines don't have to be, Mark says, routines don't have to be perfect. And taking it one step at a time. Every kiddo is going to learn at a different pace. So patience and empathy is key. Every kiddo is going to have a different routine as long as it is safe and appropriate. Any routine is pretty much okay to add. That's really solid point, Mark. I am digging this conversation so much. We could stay here and that's okay with me. So does anybody else want to add in chat or come off mute, whatever works for you? And if it's not specifically on this point, thinking about all of the things that we've discussed today, does anybody have any kind of aha or something clicked, or you know what? I just want to add this because it came to mind, and that's okay too. Okay. Again, just making sure I give a moment for everyone to find their unmute button. I don't know about you, but mine disappears.
You're on mute, Dee.
I see, case in point, that elusive mute button. Apparently I found it too easily that time. Thank you for saying something. So before we proceed and start with our community sharing, I want to bring forward some things that PAVE has created, and I want to welcome you to add to these links in the chat box and share as well. Okay, so keep the sharing going. I'm going to go to share screen, and there we are. So from the PAVE website, it's just WA for Washington, pave.org. Right now, we have some updated information and tools all around back to school. So I'm just going to type that into the search bar. And when I hit enter or I click on the search, it gives me a few different things. The first one I want to take you to is our back to school checklist. And I'm also going to show you our tips just briefly. I don't want to stay here because there's much more conversation and sharing to be had. Under the back to school checklist, there is an article that kind of breaks down the checklist, but you can also download the infographic, excuse me. If you're someone who does better with pictures and images and broken down information, for me, I know it helps it to kind of stick in those little places in my brain that like to disappear. I call them my safe places. I frequently lose them. So the back to school checklist has everything from how to prepare ahead of time, helping the school staff connect with your child, getting ready for IEP behavior intervention plan, which is a BIP, or 504 plan discussions and teams, getting ready with the calendar side of things. Oh my word, the many emails and the constant inundation of information, and managing that in a way that you know what's coming ahead of time. Communicating with the school and all of these partnerships. And you can see there's a lot more in here. So just a few things to share from there. This list is in here. And some of these things are also available in other places on the website. So if you don't know where to begin with a one pager, you can type in one pager. And you'll see that there's other information you can use. Get ready for school with IEP Essentials talks about that. I like this one personally, what you need to know about my child, and I'm pulling that one up. It gives you the breakdown of what it looks like, but I'm going to go into the actual PDF, and it shows you it's a printable or fillable form. Oops, that was our template side is the first page. Oh, I see that's what it's doing. It's creating fields automatically. Sorry, I was like, what is happening here? So what you're seeing is the fillable side of it. And the first version is the template, but you can download this and type straight in. You can affix a picture to this, tape it or glue it down, whatever works for you. And that way it's something that you can immediately give to school staff, but also other providers. It doesn't have to be specific to school. This can help anyone, caregivers as well, get to know your loved one in a very quick way. So that's one thing that's on there. Let me move on from that. Like I said, I kind of like that one, but that's just me. There's also a whole article on tips for the new school year and getting ahead of things. So I wanted to share that piece of things, as well as, again, reflecting that we're not just available, and this group is not just about K through 12, it's about all ages and the whole community of individuals with autism. I'm also going to go in here and I'm going to type in college. From that search, you can see there are a bunch of things available. College experience terms. So you're at college, what next? When you need accommodations and supports, how do you ask for those? This kind of takes you a little bit backward and it goes into the high school and beyond plan. But if you have a child or you're working with someone who is headed into seventh, eighth, and above, you want to check that out because that's also important to understand, and it's preparing for that launch. So lots of stuff on here. As I promised, I'm not going to stay here though. I just wanted you to know that information is there. The last thing I'm going to do, and I want to make sure it's still in the same place before I speak. Okay. So on the main website, you can see we have different titles. When it comes to our young adults, we have a whole section just on college readiness and different things that are related to that. I think the fastest way to get there may be to put college readiness. That will take you to a whole collection of articles. You can see accommodations for SAT and ACT. That's something to question, to look at as you go into the fall. I got excited, my words got all jumbly. There's some possible accommodations, but there's also an article on how to request those for those college entrance exams. So while it's not specific to back to school, we know that for those that are headed there, those are big things they're already thinking about, just as you're worried about FAFSA applications, right? So all of that is on there. Okay, let me stop sharing all of this. I want to check in the chat because I see some things. Awesome. I see some information in there. I will close this out. And before we get into community sharing, I see Kelly has shared 100 sensory ideas for autistic children. Awesome. Different ways to support those needs. Adding some general resources. Good. That I find helpful for some families. That's perfect. Thank you, Kelly. So healthy coping skills, best sensory toys, coping skills worksheet. I love me a good worksheet. I don't know, Kelly, that's my like love language right there. So thank you. And oh, I'm sorry, I moved a little fast, it looks like, and I didn't give you the section where the back to school and what to know about your child are under. Okay, let me grab that really quick. I'm sorry, I closed that before I looked at the chat. My bad. So going back to the PAVE website, back to school, I just typed up here in the search bar. Oops, back to, if I can type, school. And that gave me a whole lot of stuff like the checklist we looked at and the tips. You can go in by keyword like that, or learning in school is a whole section, including toolkits. Since we have somebody who works with 0 to 3 here, I've got to tell you that we've got a birth to 3 toolkit as well as the age 3 to 5 transition before students are required compulsory attendance to be in school and what that looks like and how do you get to the services and what if they are eligible for an IEP? All of those things are in here as well. So know that those are there. I'm going to click on just one of them so you can see that they also break down into the articles or the full downloadable toolkit. I'm a little afraid to open it because it keeps opening up with the Adobe wanting to add fields. I will not do that, but just know that they're there. And then the other thing you asked about was what to know about my child. Okay, you can also pull that by typing that in here in the chat box. I think I typed in one pager, but that one is also in those 2 toolkits. So it has a lot of information that's shared across the toolkits, like requesting the letter to request an IEP or an evaluation or a functional behavior intervention, FBA. Those are all in most of the toolkits because that's a consistent issue across multiple age ranges. I'm going to just confirm what I said to you that if you type in one pager, I think that also took me there. Yes, that will also take you there. Thank you for your question. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this. In our last 10 minutes together, let's talk about what's going on around you and some things that you've brought forward. I'm going to pass it over to Sarah because she's already received some things that she can share.
Sure. Do you want to keep screen sharing for me? Will you move to the next slide? Okay. So I'm just going to start sharing. Here at PAVE, we have a wonderful resource. We have the awesome Autism Parent Support Group that is facilitated by our wonderful Cindy. And that happens virtually the second Thursday of each month from 1 to 2 p.m. And then we also are getting ready to start our young adult support and advocacy group, and that will start up the 3rd Wednesday of each month from 5 to 6 p.m. And that is going to now be facilitated by me. And so these are some things that were sent in ahead of the meeting for us to share. This is a dissertation research call for participants. If you are interested in helping with this project, I'm going to drop her email in the chat. It is, who does? Maxwell at uw.edu. And all of these are going to be included with our notes for today. So you will always have the visual backup as well. And Behavior Bridges has sent us in their flyer. They are amazing. I don't know if any of their staff would like to unmute and speak to any of their groups real quick. I think we still have some of their staff here.
Yeah, I thought we had a couple people, but I can't remember if they're all having audio challenges. Oh,
Sarah.
oh, Sarah. I'm gonna go backward just a second. Somebody had asked if we could put this first support group up again. So I'm gonna put it there for a moment. Go ahead. Okay. I saw pictures. I'm like, okay, I'll give you the time. So then in that case, our Sarah Jones, would you like to go ahead and continue on this one?
Yes, so Behavior Bridges, they are located out in Puyallup. They are a wonderful organization. They are part of these meetings every month. They have some great social groups, life skills groups, special interest groups. My grandson got to take one of their peers groups this summer, and he had an amazing time there. So they always have wonderful things happening. They have a lot of financial assistance options too. So give them a call, check out their website. They have a lot of things to offer for the community. Okay, and we were asked to share a little bit. We had someone from the Parks Department has reached out to us. I know at one point in time, we distributed they were looking for some community input on a park that is being built here in Tacoma at Portland Avenue Park. It's going to be totally accessible. They have let's see, I think I still have their website up. I can share it in the chat. So you can check out, yeah. So
Sorry,
you
Sarah.
can check out all the plans that they have going on for that park, and they're inviting people to come to an upcoming public meeting on the 18th at Portland Avenue Park Community Building so that you can help give some input and shape their new design. They are looking to make it fully inclusive. They're going to do a playground, spray ground, and all the fun, amazing things that you can check out on that website I just dropped in the chat.
I wonder if they put that, it looks like they've synthesized, they said, from everyone's feedback. I wonder if the final design is on that website.
There is. They had a whole bunch of pictures on there. I scrolled through it last night. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be beautiful.
That's awesome. As we all know, and if you don't, now's your time. It's voice that's so essential. People can go into something with a beautiful intent, but until they actually hear from those that are going to use it and that know the needs, they can't really make it as amazing as they want to do. So public meetings, public comment, these are just essential to continuing to build and cultivate an inclusive community. So glad that they shared this information with us. We do have in the chat box, Sarah for Behavior Bridges has put her number out there. She says she would love to speak with anyone regarding Behavior Bridges services. There we go. And I see in the chat box, Joelle, that you've also shared a slide. I'm going to pull that up in just 1 second, or looks like a flyer. I got you.
And this arrived in our mail yesterday. I'm so glad that somebody went and checked our mail. So I wanted to make sure and share this. And I will drop the website so that you can learn more about it. But the Lion King is having a sensory-friendly performance on December 13th. That's pretty exciting. And it's also going to be available in ASL. And Miss D, do you want to speak to this?
Oh, I suppose. No, Sarah, you've done such a great job. we're always looking to hear from new voices as well as those that continue to be a part of this group. So, as you continue to engage and think about what you get from these meetings, please do share that forward. We would really love to get some family and individuals that can speak to their experience and bring their unique perspective. Families, of course, include not only parents, but other family caregivers. That could be siblings, grandparents, extended family. So do continue to bring those voices in, invite them, as well as to share that we want that feedback during the meetings as well as in the steering. So this slide specifically is about our upcoming steering committee meeting. The steering committee, anyone is welcome to join at any time. Some conversations do happen by email just in order to schedule ahead of things. So our next actual meeting will be immediately following the November South Sound Autism meeting. Okay, so at this time, it would go right after this meeting for about 30 minutes, I think, possibly a little longer, but of course, there's no obligation. And we would love to continue to round out that committee with unique perspectives and experience that can make these meetings even more meaningful. So do come, do share. And I want to grab in the chat box. I see, oh, awesome. We would love that. I see Alicia said she may be interested. So we will definitely be contacting you about that. And I'm going to grab on my side if I can figure out how to take things down a little. There we go. Okay. I've got too many screens on top of each other. And Zoom just wants to stay on top. You know how it does. All right, Joelle, I promised I was going to pull this up, so I'm going to do that now. If you would like to share.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll talk about the program a little bit. So, I know that Dee, you mentioned that you are familiar with EFMP being a military family, and some of you may be familiar, but just to give a brief overview of our program. So, there's a couple components. So, basically, EFMP, we work with families that special needs, medical, educational needs. So a lot of the population it does have autism. So that's kind of why I'm glad that you all are here to give resources and happy to share our resources. But yes, so our program, we work with active duty. So I see the question from Ann in the chat. If we work with retired military, unfortunately, we don't. If you do have questions, we won't ever turn away. We'll help as much as we can, but our active, like, kind of caseload is active duty service members. But we do work with families on resources, information, kind of gathering that, ones we have on the installation and off the installation in the area. So, and there's just some information about other things we do on that flyer there and the way to get in contact and how families can talk with us and our location and everything. But yes, if you do work with any active duty families, and feel free to pass this along, and if you think they need this information or they would benefit from talking with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Joelle. Anne, in response to your question, I wanted to pull up because I know we have several on our staff that are military connected, and I think no, they're not all retired now. I was thinking my immediate supervisor is married to a retired service member, so a veteran, versus one of my colleagues is a reservist, and my husband is still active. So we're an active family, but I wanted to pull up for you, Anne, talking about retirees. Military One Source does have special needs consultants. So if you're looking for specific information based on that unique challenge of being retiree and navigating things like their TRICARE benefits, their veterans benefits, et cetera, you can type in, you can see it's already pulling up, special needs consultation. And we've actually had them speak at a different, within a different group. We were graciously afforded some time from Military One Source where they came and spoke about what they do. And this may include things like special education matters as well, which is very helpful for our families that may be starting or coming to Washington, and there's other states involved. So sometimes navigating those systems can be more challenging, in addition to having PAVE to support this and the Washington Education Ombuds. They can also reach out to the special needs consultation within Military One Source for the military specific challenges. Forgive me for dropping another plug-in, but because we're military, I know this side of the house a little too much. The PAVE website also has information for military families. Couldn't help it. Okay, I will stop my shameless promotion. So as we wind down, oh, we're a couple minutes past. I'm so sorry. Everyone, we will be back October 10th. Lifespan Respite Washington has agreed to come and speak about respite programs, finding providers, and giving some information about that. If you haven't heard about the voucher program, definitely want to be there. Lifespan is a program under PAVE, but it has its own unique purpose and website and information to bring forward. So while I'm excited to hear from our colleague Barb, who is amazing, I know that she has some unique and different information that has not been brought into the space yet. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. You will get some reminders, including, Sarah, forgive me for speaking for you, the meeting notes and the resources. Do you want to add on?
Just real quick, I'm dropping the website in the chat for you all. I know we got some new faces here this time around, but that is our website, and all of the resources that are shared with us, all meeting recordings, those are all found on the website. You can even find notes from past meetings under the tab that says SSAP meetings. I've got the notes all loaded up there, so you guys can access that anytime. And again, anytime you have things to share or questions, you can email any of us on the team at this website or at this email. Sorry. There you go. And we're
Thank you,
so
Sarah.
glad you all were here, and we look forward to seeing your happy faces next month.
Ditto.
Thank you.